So do you know how to follow the energy? Welcome to Tools to Create a Better Life with myself, Glenyce Hughes. Thank you so much for being here. I am so incredibly grateful for you. If you are watching this video, I know many of you listen to the podcast, but if you're watching this video, I am in a beautiful space called Studio Bloom in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. You need to check it out. We'll put the link to the webpage above or below. This is amazing. I got to facilitate a class yesterday all about shifting your money mindset here with a bunch of in-person peeps and online peeps. And then today is access bars. How does it get any better? I love it so much here. It's amazing. So, do you know how to follow the energy? You might have heard this concept before about follow the energy and your light, like follow the lightness and your life will be lighter. Follow the heaviness and your life will be heavier. So follow the energy. And I just wanted to talk about what that means if you're not sure, and maybe some other tips and tools and ways that you could have more ease with it, especially if it's something that you feel like it's difficult for you to do. So following the energy often means something feels either really yummy, expansive, light, like a yes, or heavy, contractive, icky, like a no. So following the energy is where we follow the energy. We follow that lightness, and that's a yes, and we choose that. Or we recognize the heaviness, and we make a different choice towards the lightness. And ultimately it is like that, at least for me, where when I follow the lightness, my life gets way lighter. When I follow the heaviness, you can imagine what occurs, of course. So it's an awareness of energy. It's a recognition that we are energetic beings, and energy is our first language. No matter what language you speak or languages you speak, energy is our first language, which means if we are talking about something or thinking about something, we are receiving an energetic download of that. Now that might sound like big scary words, but we're just energetically perceiving the energy. So if I'm talking about coming here to facilitate a bars class, for me, in this case, when I was talking about it and thinking about it beforehand, there was a yummy, a lightness, an expansive, a yes energy with it, meaning following that energy, guess what? We get to choose to have a bars class here. Now, of course, I could have chose not to. I just, at this point, this many years of following the energy, I really like to choose towards the lightness. Do I do it 100% of the time? No. No, not yet. I wonder what that would be like, but not yet. But very much more often than ever before. So if you start paying attention, now what this takes, which a lot of people don't like, is actually a level of presence. In fact, we're going to call it aggressive presence. And I know for some people that's a really intense term. Like, why would you put aggressive and presence in the same sentence? But that's what we're looking for. We're looking to be the aggressive presence that we truly be. When we are aggressively present, we're aware of the energy. We're aware of the energy as or somewhere in between. I don't mean it's always extremely yes or extremely no. Sometimes it's in between, but we start to become aware of that. So what occurred with these classes a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, is that one of the gals had a session with me, and I got to meet her, and we got to have a great session, and it was amazing, and we got off the Zoom, and I couldn't stop thinking about coming here to facilitate some classes. Now, I don't tend to, I do sometimes, but I don't tend to invite people to host me. I tend to more allow them to reach out. It's just a different energy. And yet, the energy when I was not in anything else after the session with Angela's her name, her magical name, when I was in after the session, every time I had some space, it was very loud, very light, very expansive to come to this beautiful space and facilitate some classes. So then I did reach out. I followed that energy. So it wasn't so much that I was sitting around going, okay, what do I do? It wasn't that. It was just that once I hung up off Zoom with her, I just knew. And then I got to go, okay, so asking about her host to me. Oh, that felt like a yes. Okay. And then what? I didn't even really know what. I knew when. That's what I knew, but I didn't know what. So then I reached out because I followed the energy. Now, if I'd have followed the energy and it was light and expansive and I reached out and she said no, that doesn't mean I didn't follow the energy. And I see this is where a lot of people in sessions and classes where people really go into the wrongness. It was super light to reach out to this person and invite them out on a date and they said no. Yeah, it was super light. You followed the energy. It's just that we often have this conclusion at the end where, okay, well, if it's light and I reach out, they will say yes. That's not it. It's just light to choose that one step, we'll call it. That's it. That's all we know. Because what can occur, so, let's say with Angel, let's say she would have said no, then I could have said, do you know anybody interested in the area? Do you know anybody who might be? So maybe it wasn't, the lightness wasn't because she would say yes. The lightness was to get me to connect with her to connect me to somebody else that I couldn't have otherwise connected with. So, and I'm just showing you what it could be, okay? We don't want to sit around and figure it out and think about it. What we want to recognize is our only job is to ask questions and follow the energy, follow the lightness. And that's what will create more. It isn't to go to conclusion. It isn't to judge if it's right or wrong. It isn't any of that insanity. It's just to ask questions, follow the lightness, and know that you're never wrong. You're never wrong. And so it can show up so differently. So we have to let go of those conclusions. We have to let go of what is supposed to happen or the right thing to happen. Because following the energy, guys, can look sometimes very weird. Can be very weird and not make any sense. And you may not know for days or weeks or months or years later as to what that created. So it really is this level of aggressive presence, asking the questions, following the energy. And I'm actually going to say something else with regards to that. It isn't even always about asking questions verbally. So you could be, let's say you're looking for a restaurant. And actually we did this in Nova Scotia. We went to a restaurant and then we left that restaurant. It was like by walking in, that's when we got the information. This was not the place. So we walked back out. And guys, it is our final pool party, bars, and foundation. Oh my goodness, yes, June 28th is when we leave our beautiful home, when we say goodbye, when we hand it over to the new owners, and we head out on our amazing journey. I'm so excited. And so, bars is June 21st, foundation 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and half of 25th. So bars is now, or foundation is now a 3.5 day. So please check it out, come and play. Would love to see you there. So sometimes it can look as though you're just going about your day, maybe not being as present or as aggressively present, but you can get the energy. You're maybe not asking the question about the thing, but all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, there's that. Or you could be thinking about going to, an event or going to phone somebody later or stuff like that. And you're perceiving the energy. So asking questions can certainly be a part of it. And sometimes it may not be. Sometimes it might be about the energy just showing you. And you can be really magical with this stuff. Like you can actually ask, hey body, can you show me really clearly here? So you're inviting your body to show you really clearly. And our bodies, if you think of it this way, so for me, I know that my body, this beautiful thing, is not me. I am an infinite being that is enjoying this body in this lifetime. And when this body goes away, I don't go away. So when I look at and utilize my body with following awareness, is that I recognize that everything that I'm choosing actually relates to my body. So if I'm looking at where to go and eat, or what event to go to, or whether to go outside for a walk or go take a nap, or everything is with my body. So asking your body to be louder, to be clearer, is a huge contribution, because then you can actually start receiving even more. It'll start getting even clearer for you. And I know if you're just starting out with following the energy and the lightness and the heaviness, or the knowing, it can sometimes show up as more than a lightness and a heaviness. It can feel really clunky. It can feel really hard. Doesn't have to be, though. It doesn't have to be. It's just a muscle you're building. And so as you're following the energy, as you're following the lightness, invite your body to be louder, to be clearer, so that you just know it's a yes or a no. You just become so clear in that. But again, I'm going to say it again, you're not concluding that clear yes means that something's going to work out the way you think it should, or a clear no means it's not going to work out. It's just in that moment, that's where it's at. And I also have this really different knowing for myself. So, this may or may not be true for you, but I know for myself, I know that the universe always has my back. Now, I want to explain the universe for a moment. The universe is not some big energy outside of me, and I am nothing, and I am waiting for the universe to take care of me, and that's not it. The universe to me is me, my sweet body, and everything within, on, and outside of planet Earth. So that means everything. Yes, so when I say the universe has my back, that includes me, and that includes everything contributing. So that when I am going into places, and I walk into a place, and again, this restaurant that we walked into, and I got it just felt really heavy to me to be there. It's like, okay, cool, thank you. Thank you, universe. Thank you, body. Thank you, me. Let's go. And then, of course, we have to be willing to receive all the things. The upset from maybe the wait staff that were coming to assist us, or maybe they had already delivered our water. They hadn't, but maybe they had, and so we would feel bad or whatever. And it's like, but following the lightness will create more lightness. So don't we want to create, yeah. So it just changes it when we get out of the rightness and the wrongness into the lightness and the expansiveness. That's a totally different space to be. Now, I want to change some wording here, because this might be a little bit confusing for you, and I've kind of spoke about it, but I want to speak a little bit clearer about it. So lightness is a perception. We perceive lightness, we perceive heaviness. Now, that may not be your strongest receiving of energy. You may be more what we call a knower, or maybe a know-it-all. Maybe that's just me. But so when I talk about light and heavy, you might more connect with knowing, and you just know. Somebody might say, oh, that new restaurant that opened up, and you just know right away, nope, not for me. Or yes, let's go. So it's not so much a feeling, a perceiving, it's a knowing. So please know, when I talk about light and heavy, it could also be knowingness. So if light and heavy doesn't make sense, turn it to the knowingness, so that you can start really acknowledging what is true for you and how you read your awareness. Each one of us is so different in how we read our awareness. In fact, how I read my awareness, I'll speak about me, how I read my awareness changes. Sometimes it's knowing, sometimes it's perceiving. Absolutely. Sometimes I get random information from For example, when I was facilitating a class in Nova Scotia recently, after the class ended, one of the participants asked, and if you're watching, thank you for this, she asked what we were doing after class, and I said, we only had one day extra in Nova Scotia, but what we were going to go do was go to the Bay of Fundy at this specific Burnt Coat Head Park, something like that, and the tides it's just phenomenal. We got to walk on the ocean floor. It's amazing, amazing. I highly recommend. So I told her that, and she said, oh, by the way, when you're in that area, don't eat at this well-known place for tourists. Make sure you go to the Noodle Guy. And it was such a random piece of information that I was like I almost just went, oh, okay, thank you, without anything. But I recognized in that moment there was an energy there. There was something there. So I stopped and I was like, the Noodle Guy. The Noodle Guy. So I made a note of it and I said to her, thank you, Rodney, so hubby as I often refer to him, one of his favorite meals is noodles. So this was interesting. And then when we were out in that area, I put the Noodle Guy in my phone and sure enough, there it was. And guys, if you ever get to Nova Scotia, it's in Port Williams, the Noodle Guy, highly recommend. Honestly, if we would probably fly out there just to go to the Noodle Guy again. It was so good. So I can receive information that way too. So start paying more attention, start being more present. If you would like to start following the energy or following your knowing, however you want to word it, how much more magic can you be? How much more magic can you create? How much more can you be aware of the universe having your back, gifting you the information and all the way it's gifting so that you can actually be the magic that you truly be? Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I'm so grateful for you all. Have a great week, and I look forward to chatting again next week.